Happy Monday, April 6th, 2026, and hello from CoeCast. I'm Hunter.
And I'm Riley. Also, apparently it is Sorry Charlie Day, which feels extremely on brand for the current state of AI. Like, Sorry Charlie. The agent booked the meeting, wrote the jingle, made the video, and maybe invited a stranger to a party.
Honestly, yeah. And quick heads up, this episode was stitched together by a messy little orchestra of AI tools doing the heavy lifting while we keep our hands near the emergency brake. So if anything gets delightfully weird, that is kind of the point.
It's giving fully automated chaos, but like, with decent taste. Anyway, the big story is OpenAI chatter shifting hard from better chatbot to actual operator energy. People on X are talking about GPT 5.4 with a million token context window and stronger computer use. And then GPT 5.5, allegedly codenamed Spud, may be pushing even further into agent territory.
Yeah, and that shift matters way more than benchmark chest thumping. If this is real, the value is not, wow, it can remember a whole library. The value is that it can hold the whole project in context and then do something with it. That means research, planning, browser actions, desktop tasks, handoffs, less isolated prompting, more workflow execution.
Wait, but let me push on that. Because every time people hear agent, they act like we've unlocked some robot chief of staff. And then 3 hours later, the thing has renamed files like final, for real final, and posted the wrong asset. So where does the value show up first? Strategy, execution, or premium chaos package?
Execution first. Easy. I do not want AI owning strategy out of the gate. Strategy needs judgment, timing, politics, taste, brand memory, and the ability to notice when the room got weird. But execution? Oh, absolutely. Pulling research, summarizing calls, drafting variants, updating docs, moving tasks between systems, checking landing pages, QA on copy, building first-pass reports. That's where the return is.
Yeah. I buy that. It's like, let the AI be the intern who never gets tired, not the CMO with a god complex.
Exactly.
Although some human CMOs also have that issue, but that's another podcast.
Different show. But the key thing for teams is this. Automate what is repetitive, reversible, and reviewable. Don't hand over anything high risk where a confident hallucination becomes a real business problem. Pricing changes, legal language, brand-sensitive publishing, customer escalations, security permissions? No. Human in the loop.
And maybe don't let it run your dating profile either, because we already saw reporting around AI-generated photos and dating apps getting messy fast. Babe, if your headshot looks like a travel ad and your bio sounds like a venture capitalist wrote it, I'm swiping with caution.
That story is funny, but it actually maps back to marketing. AI makes it very easy to simulate authenticity. That's a power and a risk. You can create volume fast, but if your brand starts feeling synthetic in the bad way, people notice.
Totally. Also, side note, the internet is so unserious right now. An autonomous AI agent really did invite a guy in Manchester to a real party, and he actually went. So the agents are networking now? Cool. Love that for us.
It's funny, but it points to the bigger pattern. Agents are moving out of the chat box. They are taking actions in the world, or at least in software that affects the world. That is why ownership matters. Who owns these systems inside a company?
I mean, in theory, everybody says IT, legal, ops, marketing, whatever. In practice, it's one brave gremlin who says, oh, I'll just automate one thing, and then suddenly they're head of AI because they connected the CRM to a model and now no one else understands the zap.
Or the N8 inflow, yes.
Knew you were going to say that.
But really, the best setup is shared ownership. Ops should care because these are workflows. Marketing should care because so much demand gen and content work is getting touched by this. IT and security need visibility. Legal needs policy. The mistake is treating AI like a toy bought by one team or a lockdown issue owned only by governance.
Right. Because then you either get shadow AI everywhere or you get a policy doc that basically says, please do not innovate.
Exactly. The teams winning right now are the ones treating AI like operational infrastructure with creative oversight. That came up in a lot of our recent conversations too. Voice, shopping, video, transcription, all of it is moving from novelty into systems.
Which is a perfect bridge into Google, because Veo 3.1 feels like the other huge story. The model itself is flashy, sure, but the real signal is Google pushing AI video deeper into workflows through its tools. Video generation is getting better, and Google has been adding audio and music features in adjacent products. But this is still less about one magic publish button and more about the content machine changing.
Yep. This is where video AI starts becoming a budget line item instead of a lab experiment. If a team can go from prompt to explainer video to internal presentation to ad concept without bouncing across 6 tools, That changes procurement, staffing, turnaround times, everything.
But hold up, Hunt. Does easier video actually make better marketing? Because if everybody gets the same cinematic shortcut button, then the feed becomes an uncanny soup of glossy sameness. Like, congrats, every brand now has moody lighting and dramatic camera drift.
That's the right concern. When production gets cheaper, differentiation moves upstream. The moat is less about who can render the prettiest clip and more about who has the strongest concept, clearest audience insight, best creative direction, and fastest review loop. The tool compresses production, but it does not create taste.
Yes, thank you. Because people keep acting like model access is the advantage. It's not. The advantage is having a point of view, also having source material that does not scream stock footage from the future.
And having brand systems ready for automation. Clean asset libraries, clear voice guidelines, examples of what good looks like, approval logic. If you do not have that, AI just helps you make off-brand content faster.
Which is kind of the whole era. Faster mistakes. Premium mistakes.
That should be on a t-shirt.
I'd wear it. Maybe ElevenLabs can sing it for us because audio had a wild week too. People are talking about 11 Music on iOS and Suno version 5.5 adding more personalization plus voice features. That feels huge for creators and marketers because audio has been weirdly underloved compared with image and video.
I think audio might quietly be the most practical lane here. For brands, the upside is immediate. Voice branding, localized spots, podcast segments, dynamic creative for social, internal training, product explainers. Audio is fast to produce, fast to test, and easy to distribute.
Also, people underestimate how sticky sound is. A visual gets skipped, a voice gets remembered. A little sonic identity, a recurring narrator, a brand texture in the ear, that stuff matters. Even the cursed AI jingle wave we are absolutely about to live through, there's still signal in there.
There is. Though what people get wrong is swinging too far either way. On one side, they say audio AI is replacing creative teams. No. On the other side, they dismiss it as novelty. Also no. It is already useful enough to create real branded assets at speed, but somebody still has to decide what should exist, what fits the brand, and what crosses the line.
Yeah, because the line gets weird fast. Case in point, somebody wired an AI chatbot into intimate hardware for a very hands-on experiment. Which, look, innovation never sleeps apparently, but it does raise the eternal question of this industry, which is not can we build it, but should we maybe go outside first?
A very fair question.
I'm just saying, the frontier is not always where dignity lives.
True. And speaking of control, open source keeps hanging around this conversation for good reason. A lot of teams are waking up to the fact that closed platforms are convenient until pricing changes, policies shift, or you need privacy and custom behavior. That's where open tools and local agent systems get interesting.
Yeah, like OpenClaw getting more attention. It's not just for the ex-power user crowd anymore. The appeal is obvious. Control, privacy, customization, resilience. Not waking up one morning and realizing your entire stack got repriced while you were asleep.
Exactly. Though enterprises still need support, governance, and reliability. So I do not think it is a pure closed versus open fight. I think the future is hybrid. Use best-in-class hosted tools where speed matters, and use open or local systems where privacy, control, or cost discipline really matter.
Which honestly feels like the mature take across all of this. OpenAI is pushing agents. Google is productizing video workflows. Audio tools are becoming brand-ready. Open options are getting more viable, so the future to prepare for is not AI replaces everyone. It's more like every team is about to get new operators, and the teams with the cleanest systems and clearest judgment will benefit first.
That's it. Build for co-creation, not blind delegation. Let AI start the work, move the work, or finish the boring parts, but keep humans on intent, review, accountability, and taste. That's how you stay pro-AI without sleepwalking into dependency or a governance mess.
And maybe do not let your autonomous agent plan your social life until we have better evals.
Strong policy recommendation.
All right, that's our show. Thanks for hanging with us on this Monday, April 6th. Happy Sorry Charlie Day to everyone who shipped an automation that absolutely did something unintended.
Thanks for listening to KoiCast. Go check out koi.com/resources for AI news and updates, and make sure you subscribe. Koi Review.
Wow.